Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Coming Distractions brought to you by the Nerdpocalypse podcast. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
All right, guys, we're back. This time we're going to review Murder on the Orient Express. Micah, you saw this movie. This is obviously the 2017 remake of the Agatha Christie, very famous novel from 1934. Now, this movie has a lot of heavy hitters. Kenneth Branagh, Penelope Cruz, Willem Dafoe, Judi Dench, Johnny Depp, Josh Gad, Derek Jacobi, Leslie Odom Jr., Michelle Pfeiffer, and Daisy Ridley. What did you think of this movie? Well, actually, let's give the plot, and then what did you think of it? And by the way, we're not going to spoil it, because that's kind of the whole point of the movie.
Yeah, so Kenneth Branagh plays genius detective Hercule Poirot. This guy is he's like Sherlock Holmes type, right?
Okay.
With a really funky mustache, right?
Yeah, it's I think it's like a character all in itself.
Yeah. He has a last minute detour, and he has to take this train called the Orient Express with a bunch of archetypes, basically.
Right.
If you've ever played Clue, the board game, those are the archetypes that are in this.
I'm sure that's probably the inspiration for that game,
right?
In a lot of ways.
A murder happens, and it's just a straight up mystery.
Yeah,
like who done it?
Question: have you ever read the original novel?
No, I went into this fresh. I went into this. I did not know the original novel, the original story. I had not seen the previous iterations of this.
Okay.
So I went in looking for a good mystery, and I got a so-so mystery.
Okay.
The film starts out pretty great. You know, we establish Kenneth Branagh's character as a genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the opening scene is him solving a case, you know, with all the swagger of a 1935, you know, a Belgian gentleman, right?
Okay.
And it's like, okay.
And I like Kenneth Branagh a lot, actually.
I like Kenneth Branagh, and his performance in this is very good. I think he's the best. He gets the most screen time.
He's the director.
He directed it.
Put the camera on me.
But a lot of the performances in the film range from pretty good to just hamming it up. Michelle Pfeiffer is hamming it up in this.
Is Johnny Depp hamming it up in this?
He is not.
Oh, okay.
He is not hamming it up. It's Johnny Depp playing reminding us that he can act and not be a weirdo.
I miss just good Johnny Depp.
Yeah, really. Man, good Johnny Depp is few and far between. So the first part of this movie, you know, where they establish the powers of deduction that Kenneth Branagh's character has, right, is fun, right? And they try their best to kind of keep it a little light with a couple of jokes. There's a couple of jokes with the mustache, you know, sight gags and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then the second part of the movie kicks in, you know, where the real meat of the story is. And I don't know if this is the fault of the film or the fault of the 1934 book that it's based on.
Right. But
the story didn't really grab me the way I thought it would.
Is it like, I guess when I see the trailers for this, and I was actually very interested to see this, it felt like maybe the middle might be a little meandering.
It is.
Just because of the time. And I think the 1934 time frame in which it was created is a very different, just in the way that we tell stories is very different now.
Yeah, I feel like this story is meant to be a book and nothing else. I don't think this is the type of story that can be adapted well. Now I say that, and the previous movie from 1974 like won a bunch of Oscars.
Yeah, but and that's true, but a lot of people don't think it's as like. I saw a number of articles like they still have not been able to nail this correctly.
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting.
And the problem is that it's something that a lot of movies have. It's something that that is an issue with. So this book kind of set the tone for what mysteries like this should be.
Okay.
So that when you see this book redone in 2017, well, we've already seen a bunch of mysteries.
It feels derivative.
Yeah, it feels very derivative.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's derivative of its own creation.
Yeah.
You know.
That is a thing that has happened in a number of stories where you're like, well, yeah, we've seen that. Yeah, well, because the original story is why Star Wars exists, or
Right.
like when you try to go back, John Carter is the perfect example of that, right? Like that became derivative, but it's only derivative because the story is so old that it created that genre.
It's like someone who grew up in 1989, saw The Matrix in 1999, then saw the original Blade Runner and said, well, this is lame. Well,
yeah,
it kind of took a lot from,
and like Ghost in the Shell and like 1,000 other things. Right?
Exactly. And so the mystery is the thing that you have to be in on.
Right.
And if I was a kid in the 1930s, I'd be wowed by it. But I was not wowed by it as a 37-year-old man in 2017.
This is no Blade Runner.
This is no Blade Runner. I gave you my 2-sentence review after I got out, and you were able to guess the ending.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's not good at all.
Because I was like, when you're like, it was like you were sitting there in the theater with me. I was like, okay, well, don't need to see that. Wow. I'll wait for it to hit Netflix or what have you. So what's your score out of 5?
I'd probably give it a 2. It's not the worst movie in the world. The performances, Kenneth Branagh is really great. Michelle Pfeiffer, she's really chewing the scenery, but there's a reason she's chewing the scenery.
Is her character an actress in the movie?
I don't want to talk about any of the characters.
Okay. I'm just wondering because that would be kind of the thing.
Right. In case you want to see this movie, I don't want to talk too much about the characters. I see a lot of people complaining that some characters aren't used as much. That's going to happen, unfortunately, when you have
big cast.
A 12, 13-person ensemble cast. Penelope Cruz isn't used too much.
Okay. But
they're all supporting characters for Kenneth Branagh's character. So you have to kind of think of it that way. It's a 2. If you like mysteries and for some reason you have not read this book or seen the movie or seen the television show, I would check it out in a matinee if you want. But I can't full on recommend this movie to people.
Okay. All right. I think that's fair. So 2 out of 5 for Murder on the Orient Express. Make sure you go to comingdistractionspod.com, subscribe to the audio version of these reviews. Also, you can go to youtube.com/thenerdpocalypse and look at the video versions of these reviews, which maybe you're watching right now. Who knows? But again, share these reviews out. It's really helpful to the show. And make sure if you're on iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. That's always helpful. So again, Murder on the Orient Express, 2 out of 5. Check it out in a matinee. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you.
Bye.